I'll call the August 26, 2021 City of Hayes Commission meeting to order. All 5 commissioners are present. Everybody had an opportunity to look at the minutes, consider approval. Financial statement, Kim Rupp.
Thank you. This is a summary of revenue and expenditure activities for the City of Hayes, month ended July 31, 2021. Revenues in July totaled $5.8 million, an increase of $3.3 million compared to the same period as last year. Some notable areas of increased revenue: we received the $1,573,500 in American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA funds. This represents the first half of the distribution. We then dispersed $918,702 to the general fund, CVB, special parks, and special highway as revenue replacement for 2020. Capital projects increased $196,000 for the developer share of the Kingsgate Second Edition Special Assessment District. State gasoline tax was up $28,500 as compared to a year ago, likely the result of increasing travel. And month-to-date residential water consumption was up 1.5%, with business up 8%. Year-to-date, total consumption is up 1%, with revenue up 4.5%, or $96,600. There were no areas of significant revenue decreases when we compare to last year. Expenditures in July totaled $3,836,287. That's an increase of $948,000. Notable areas of increase in expenditure: we talked about that $918,000 just mentioned for the transfers made in dispersing the ARPA funds. Airport improvement rose $155,000 due to the land acquisition to the east of the terminal at the airport. The 27th Street reconstruction continues, with capital projects up $132,000 for those expenditures. Sports complex expenditures increased $80,000 as compared to a year ago for the scoreboard project just completed. And water reclamation reserve was up $270,000 due to the ongoing sewer lining project. Notable areas of decreased expenditure: City Commission capital reserve fell $105,000 due to work on canal that had just started this time last year. Health insurance for employee benefits was off $80,500 when compared to a year ago. The insurance and surety for intergovernmental fell $250,000. That's simply due to a timing of the payment for property and liability coverage to NPR. And budgeted capital projects for special highway was down $174,000 in connection with the seal coating of streets at this time last year. Month-to-date general fund sales tax collections were at $705,438. That's another increase of $44,000, or 6.7% as compared to last year. Year-to-date, general fund sales tax collections are at $4,761,624, up $407,000, or 9%. The 6-month average is at 11%, which that's an increase of 7% when compared to a year ago. And month-to-date county sales tax collections were at $82,605. Year-to-date total at $574,284. The report of top 10 quarter-to-date sales tax collections by classification was up $376,000, or 18.6%. And the largest percentage increases in that report were in accommodation at 127%, clothing at 69%, and electric, wind, natural gas distribution at 59%. Those top 10 represent 76% of the total sales tax collections for the running quarter. Finally, the portfolio certificates of deposit on July 31, 2021 totaled $21.5 million with a weighted average interest rate of 5 basis points. That's down right at 1% from a year ago. Total par value of the U.S. Treasury notes at $5,025,000, weighted average yield of maturity of 6 basis points, and the total balance of the money market account on July 31 was $33.25 million, with a current yield of 5 basis points. We're carrying a much heavier balance in there because of the rate. Total investments are up $2.248 million.
I'll make a motion that we accept the July 2021 financial statement.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the financial statement. Any discussion or questions? I just want to say you can keep your job a little longer.
Thank you.
Nice numbers.
Hey, Kim, I have a question. Where is online sales, or I'm sorry, not sales, tax number? Sales tax numbers. Thank you, Ron. Collections, where is that in the packet?
So in the PDF, page 12, on that quarter-to-date sales tax report, we report that at the very end as electronic shopping. Other direct selling, for the quarter, they were up 9,500 or 15%. And I added that about a year ago. If you ever looked at this report, it's really 11. I call it the top 10, but electronic shopping kept growing.
Sure.
Plus, the state passed some new legislation that requires collecting of this now, and they're starting to enforce that. So some of that is the shift, I think, to electronic shopping. Some of that is the enforcement of the collection of the taxes. It continues to grow.
I just think it's ironic how that's growing, but also people shopping here is growing, so that's very positive for Hayes.
Any other questions? Not, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes 5-0. Any citizen comments this evening? No? Okay. Within the consent agenda, I always like to make a comment as to the people that serve and request to serve on our city committees. I'm asking for approval tonight for Kayla Lonan to a 2-year term to the Care Council, and Janet Klaus is new to the Hayes Housing Authority Board, a 4-year term. And also, that's for approval, but also just a recommendation that we'll approve it another time, is Samuel Allen to the Care Council.
I move we accept the consent agenda items A through D.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Pass 5-0. 2021 Biosolids Handling Truck, award of bid.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Jeff Crispin, Director of Water Resources. The Department of Water Resources 2021 budget included $300,000 for the purchase of a biosolids handling truck for a water reclamation and reuse facility. During our water reclamation and reuse facility plant upgrade, that was around 2018, 2019, it was determined that we needed a new biosolids handling equipment, and we would need to purchase it due to the upgraded facility's waste disposal process. Primarily, we went from a liquid handling facility to a solids handling facility with that upgrade. This is the current solids handling truck, number 654. It's a 1991 International, and it started its life as a Hayes municipal trash truck. It is 30 years old. The department received this truck around 2000, 2001, and a used manure spreader was procured and installed on the truck. The truck bed has limitations on holding capacity, and the truck and spreader have served their useful life for the city. This is number 652 in our fleet. It is a 1998 International sludge tank truck that basically hauls solids from the facility out to the fields when we were primarily doing liquids. This is a picture, the northeast corner of our property near Highway 40 and General Custer. This is the 6 drying beds for our facility. Those beds basically have not changed, but since the project and our solids becoming thicker, we are able to actually stack a little bit more, so you actually see a little bit more being held on our property. But when they start to get full, we need to get that solids out to the fields, out into the county. Presently, our staff loads biosolids onto dump trucks using that Kubota tractor, that orange tractor, and hauls them out to the field, and we stockpile it. Once the material is placed at the field, we take the tractor out to the field and then load from that tractor onto 654, and then we start spreading onto the farmer's field. Due to the age and condition of that current equipment, staff must handle the biosolids multiple times, and this is pretty inefficient. This also requires us to borrow a couple dump trucks from Public Works if our dump truck within our water resources fleet is being used for leaks or those type things. So it ties up additional equipment when we're hauling to the fields. This is one of the photos south and east of the city of Hayes. That's basically Mark and Sean. As you can see in the background, that it's been stockpiled by dump truck loads, and then they take a tractor. This time they took the backhoe out and they load it into that truck, and then they spread it onto the field. This is a photo of a map that Jason and IT worked up. Basically shows the different locations where we stockpile. It's hard to see, the years are listed there, but that's basically where we stockpile and actually put the biosolids onto the fields on the locations. We opened bids July 20th, 2021. The recommended low bid from Summit Truck Group of Salina, Kansas, $166,220 is for both the truck and the new spreader. It's below the $300,000 budget that we had in the budget book. Over the life of both of our current vehicles, we have set aside $227,148.57 to new equipment reserve. As I mentioned, Summit Truck Group of Salina submitted a bid, and their bid was for a 2022 model HV613 International truck with a 2021 Spreadall TK20T manure spreader box. And basically that is both of those pieces of equipment. You may recall back in 2018, we purchased a dump truck for the Water Resources Department, and we actually got a truck from Summit Truck Group. The model is not the same model, but it's very similar to that one that you see there in the picture as far as our current dump truck. Also, since last Thursday night, the work session, I contacted Adam who is the sales manager for Summit Truck Group in Salina, and I wanted to verify a few things. Talked to him a little bit about ordering, delivery. Again, reiterated the fact that COVID is causing a lot of issues with different trucks and any vehicle really these days. He said that he expects an order, if you give approval tonight, he would go ahead and order it, but he would expect mid 2022 for a delivery. Expected. We don't know exactly what's going to happen, but that's kind of what we're looking for. He said the further on that we get into this next year, with that delivery, it could be a 2023 truck, but it doesn't change the price. Basically, we would be working with them on the same price. The project for funding, we listed it in the fleet replacement schedule of the 2021 budget for $300,000 to be funded out of new equipment reserve. In 2020, while we were working on the 2021 budget, it was realized that the original budget amount of $300,000 might be a little excessive. But when we were finalizing the budget, we didn't want to drop that number because of how COVID was affecting everything. And that's why that number kind of stayed there at $300,000. During the project, we asked for some assistance from our engineers, the project at the wastewater treatment facility, We asked our engineers for a little bit of help on looking at a budgetary quote, some different types of trucks that are out there, and that's how the $300,000 number was originally sourced. So tonight, I'm asking for one of these three options: award the bid to Summit Truck Group, reject all the bids, or direct us to another option. And this is the action I would request, and I would stand for any questions as well.
I'll make a motion, we award the bid for the purchase of a 2022 model HV613 International truck with a 2021 Spreadall TK20T manure spreader box from Summit Truck Group of Salina, Kansas for the total price of $166,220 to be paid out of the new equipment reserve fund.
I'll second.
Been moved by Mayor Musil, seconded by Commissioner Melick. I call you Mayor. I did.
Not
I'm
me.
just going right down the thought. Previous Mayor Musil, Commissioner Melick. Is there any discussion?
Jeff, I do have a question. I'm assuming, so you won't need a tractor out there with this? I mean, you can just spread it, and will the tractor have to go back out there and follow up?
No, we will be able to actually load on site and then drive the full new truck out to the field, spread it, drive it back to the facility, so we won't be tying up extra dump trucks, those type things. It'll save a lot of time.
And since you were under budget, we can move some of that over to Marvin, so he's where he needs to be, right?
That was going to be my question.
I'd rather not.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
With the current truck that you have, foresee any issues waiting that long for the midsummer next year?
As far as with what we are currently running,
Yeah.
we hold it together. It's been there for a long time. If there are significant issues, we're not going to put tons of money into those trucks. So I hope that answers that question. I mean, our intention is actually to move towards Purple Wave with both of those current trucks once we have that new truck on site. But there's ways that we could, if we had a catastrophe that truck failed, we could figure out a way to get the biosolids out to the fields. But I think we're going to be fine.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Is this like within the United States, or is it somewhere else that this is coming from, or do you know?
Yeah, I don't know exactly where they source their trucks from, but it is from the United States. The same thing with our last truck that we ordered. We've had good luck with them, so.
Anything else? I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Sir. Vine Street release of access right away. John Brown.
Good evening, Commissioners. John Brown, Project Manager for the City of Hayes. North Vine Street Corridor Project created a configuration of excess right-of-way along the West Vine Street frontage road between 37th Street and Interstate 70. With the construction of the roundabout at the intersection of 37th and Vine, the west frontage road was disconnected from 37th Street, leaving a portion of the frontage road and 41st Street right-of-way north of 37th Street as excess property. During the design and the right-of-way acquisition phase of the North Vine Street project, this excess right-of-way was considered for transfer back to the adjacent property owner while reserving a public utility easement. This aerial photo may help you to visualize the area in question. To help you get oriented, this image is looking towards the northwest, just south of I-70 in Vine, and 3701 Vine, the Phillips 66 station, is just left of the center of the screen. And the 15,800 square foot tract in question is shown by the red polygon there. This aerial image shows the same area looking the opposite direction toward the southeast. And here the red polygon again shows the tract in question. The blue line here shows a water line, and the transfer documents reserve a utility easement for the public water main crossing the tract. And there is also a fiber optic cable in the area as well that would be protected by the utility easement reserved. So the process is that KDOT has released its interest in the excess right-of-way, which was actually, that was all part of the I-70 construction project back in the 60s when that, or maybe in late 50s when that was acquired. And they've deeded that over to the city. The city attorney has prepared a quitclaim deed that would transfer ownership of the tract to the adjacent property owner, reserving the utility easement. City attorney has also prepared a resolution that would approve the transaction and authorize the mayor to sign the deed. There is no financial impact associated with this action. So your options are to approve the resolution, authorizing the mayor to sign the deed and transferring the excess right-of-way to the adjacent property owners, decline to approve the resolution, or direct staff to another option. And the action requested is on the screen. And stand for questions.
I'll move to approve resolution number 2021-012, authorizing the mayor to sign the deed transferring title of portions of Vine Street frontage road right-of-way and reserving a public utility easement.
Second that.
Been moved by Commissioner Burgess, seconded by Commissioner Reuter. Any further discussion?
John, for the public's information, if you would go back to the polygon, and, because I had asked last week about them building on to any of that.
Correct. Yes. So the standard building setbacks that are applicable to the particular zoning district there would apply, and that's basically 25 feet off of the new right-of-way line. So basically, this line here along Vine Street and this line here, there would be a 25-foot setback to where they could not build. So there would be an area in here where they could actually build on.
Thank you.
John, would this change as two separate parcels, or would they join that as one big parcel then?
That's a good question that I suppose the county would, I'm not sure how they would deal with that exactly, but we'll transfer that over. I mean, they would have ownership of that, and then I imagine they would consolidate the parcels, but I can't.
They normally
that definitively.
do leave them separate until the landowner decides to do something, and sometimes then they'll start treating them as one tract.
for right now, the tracks will be, I think, maintained by the county appraiser at least as separate tracks.
Okay, thank you.
So John, is that 25 feet approximately halfway in the middle of that red box?
It's
Setback?
probably a little bit more than halfway. I mean, it would be, that would be about the 25 feet, and then, right, it would not be able to be over the water line, and
Oh, okay.
and I think that water line is within that 25 feet.
Okay.
So, yeah, approximately halfway, I think, is a good estimate.
Okay.
So it'll give the landowner opportunity to reconfigure everything out there.
Exactly, and they would be able to use that space for parking and stuff like that.
So they would have to, if it's kept as a separate parcel, that would be a rear property line they'd have to meet setbacks from to the current parcel there, correct?
I don't think that the rear yard setbacks would apply to this line. The rear yard setbacks would apply only to their existing lot line.
Okay.
That would be standard practice on similar type of lot consolidation type things. So.
I should know the answer to this, and I don't. Given the configuration of what's there now, can they add additional gas tanks to that area?
I don't know. I can answer that question as far as if you're talking about like pump stations.
I'm talking about in-ground gas.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the regulations are that limit the amount and the size
The
of
number.
those gas
Okay, thank you.
tanks, but I would imagine they would redo, what's there and fit it to that size. So.
Thank you. Anything else? I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes 5-0. Solid waste baler and conveyor. Jesse Rohr.
And I appreciate that. So Jesse Rohr, Director of Public Works. I want to visit tonight about your consideration for award a bid for our new solid waste baler and conveyor at the recycling facility. So we did include funding for this in the 2021 budget, and it is for the purchase of a new horizontal closed-end baler, which includes a conveyor as well, that we use for the processing and baling of our paper and cardboard products at the recycling facility. The current baler was put into place in 2001 when we opened the recycling facility. And because of annual maintenance contracts that we've had, we have been able to extend the life. It's done well for us. However, repairs are getting a little more frequent. Therefore, it is time to replace the equipment. So here's a couple pictures I have. This is the conveyor that feeds the material up into the top hopper. And as I mentioned before, this is purely for paper and cardboard products that we bale. Just off the screen here, you see a stack of bales over here that then get loaded into a trailer and hauled off. Here's another picture. Again, you can see the bales there on the right. You can see the conveyor. The conveyor does start in a pit in the floor and then travels up the conveyor into the compactor where it's compacted into the standard size bales. Here's a pretty close image to what our proposed baler will look like, which is actually very similar to our current baler. I do want to mention that with the company that we're recommending, this baler will be custom fabricated for us. If they're awarded the bid and we sign a contract with them, the first thing they do is send a tech up here to our facility from their facility in Gainesville, Texas, and they take measurements. They check our electrical setup, electrical supply, so there's no surprises. So when it shows up here, it's installed and ready to go. The baler does carry a standard, industry standard 1-year warranty, and the estimated delivery time they've given us is 4 to 7 months. And I asked them about that range, and they said they hope to have it to us in 4 months. Once their tech comes up, takes measurements, about a week and a half, 10 days or so after that, they send us build sheets. If we review those, get them back to them, if everything's okay, they start the build. If material supplies are okay, they expect to have it in that 4 or maybe 4.5 month time frame. However, just because of non-expected delays, they wanted to make sure they're covered, so they threw the 7 months in there as well. So, but hopefully we'll have it shortly after the first of the year. So, we did receive 4 good bids, qualified bids, with the low one being from Nex-Tech LLC from Gainesville, Texas, and they came in at the low bid of $95,000. Funding for this, as I mentioned, was in the 2021 budget, and we had $85,000 budgeted. And as you can see, we came in $10,000 over budget. Quotes for this piece of equipment for the 2021 budget were done in early spring of 2020 during the 2021 budget preparation. That was also prior to, or just about the onset of COVID, and prior to us knowing what was gonna, what all the repercussions were of that pandemic. I did contact a couple of the vendors and talked about the bids after we opened the bids here. And the 2 primary reasons they gave for the increase in costs versus the estimates we had a year and a half ago were steel costs and shipping. And with the bids all being, at least 3 of the bids relatively close and the other one slightly higher, we still felt these were very good and competitive bids. So these would be the options for you tonight. Award the bid to Nex-Tech LLC as we're recommending. Reject all bids or direct staff otherwise. And this would be the action requested. And any questions?
I'll make a motion that we award the bid for the purchase of a new Nex-Tech model TBC-40 from Nex-Tech LLC in the amount of $95,000 to be funded out of solid waste reserve.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Milliken, second by Commissioner Musil. Discussion?
I have a question on the wear and tear, and I know you guys use it all the time. Just sometimes you think different stuff when you see it twice. On this new item, I mean, do you expect the wear and tear to be the same? I mean, is it just a matter of using it for 21 years, or is there different technology that they've came out with, or?
You know, we probably expect it to be about the same. We don't feel our usage has changed in the last 20 years, very little. You know, we run through about, on average, 800 to 820 ton per year of paper and cardboard product. And that's, like I say, it hasn't changed that much over the last several years. So probably the same. You know, we feel getting 20 years out of the current equipment was doing very well for it. We also do know that there is a market for our used equipment. We've got a couple of vendors who are interested in it once it's removed from our floor and put out on the market. So we'll market that through Purple Wave or some other means to the public, and should be able to recoup some funds on that one as well. So.
Good. All right. Good enough. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Well, as we told Jeff last week, he has enough extra money to
Yeah.
throw it over
That's
your
right.
dealing.
Thanks, Jeff.
I have a comment more than a question. Last week, Marvin gave us a robust presentation, I must say. But he did mention multiple times in there that Solid Waste Division was the #1 division in the city of Hayes.
More than once.
Would you like to comment on that or not?
Well, I've heard that a time or two myself, but I've only heard it from Marvin.
Okay. that answers my
And
question.
he's got a plaque hanging on his wall that won't let us forget it.
Okay, thank you, Jesse.
Between division and department.
Okay.
Well, I'm out there once a week taking recycling, and I think they do a phenomenal job out there. So thank
I
you
would
for what you
agree.
do.
It's just another example of what I appreciate so much since I've been a commissioner and didn't really think about before, and that's how we handle our equipment and how many years usage over and above what is expected of our equipment. So when you come forward and want something new, I totally know you've done everything possible to utilize what you have and still have some money in it to sell it. So that's always appreciated. Okay, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. New fire station architectural design. Chief Ryan Higgins.
Good evening, Commissioners. Ryan Higgins, Fire Chief. Back in May, we sent out requests for qualifications to architectural firms. We did have 13 of those firms reply back with us, which we thought was very good for us. We selected finalists to attend a workshop with city staff back on June 21st. And then we asked for proposal fees to be due back by us by July 20th. We did receive two proposal fees, one from Hafer Welker from Leewood and the Craybill Associates from Wichita. And the 2022 City Hayes CIP included a budget of $325,000 for fire station design services. With Craybill Associates' proposed fee of the $316,450 was below the budget amount, and that fee was based on a total budget of $4.25 million with an estimated construction cost of $3.5 million. Now your options is authorize the city manager to enter a contract with Craybill Associates in the amount of $316,450, not to exceed 9.05% of the station's construction costs for architectural design services to be funded from the City Commission Capital Reserve, provide us with other direction, or do nothing. And this is the action that we are requesting tonight.
I move we authorize the city manager to enter a contract with Craybill Associates in the amount of $316,450, not to exceed 9.05% of the station's construction costs for architectural design services for a new fire station to be funded from the City Commission Capital Reserve.
Seconded.
Been moved by Commissioner Reuter, seconded by Commissioner Burgess. Discussion and questions?
Chief, I know you toured some other fire stations. Were any of the ones you toured, were they designed by this company?
Yes. Sedgwick County and Wichita both have stations designed by them. We toured ones built in Sedgwick County, and I've spoken to members in Wichita Fire Department, and the Sedgwick County project manager, along with the Sedgwick County Fire Chief, both highly recommend Craybill Associates.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? Call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed 5-0. Thank you, Chief. Progress report. City Manager Toby Doherty in the absence of Assistant City Manager Colin Bell.
Toby Doherty, guest presenter. LeVar Burton was not available, so I will present the progress report tonight.
Oh, my.
Public Works.
Yeah,
Public
Jim.
Works has been working on curb and gutter repairs on Main Street. They started south. They've been working their way north. They have been very diligent, about 4 weeks into this project, and they're doing a great job. Just show some patience. They'll be in and out very quickly once they start working. This is a after photo of some of their work. Public Works has also done some repairs around town. Recently, we did 113 yards of concrete on Willow Street. Fire Department had conducted some vehicle extraction training. The fire department works with they work with the Parks and Public Works to actually crunch the cars up with loaders, and then they go in and simulate extraction. They also conducted high-angle rescue training. This is a technical rescue team that includes some members of the Ellis County Rural Fire Department. Parks Department moved some irrigation in anticipation of the installation of turf at the Bickle Smith Sports Complex. And the contractor in the project is actually removing the red dirt that's currently on the playing fields. That red dirt will be stockpiled, and then the Parks Director will use that to bring up to grade and then provide better drainage for our existing ball fields that weren't receiving turf. On August 2nd, there was a contractor accidentally set off a sprinkler head in the law enforcement center in the 911 communications room. It was a computer room, actually. Caused some flood damage, but county IT staff, city IT staff, and law enforcement center staff were very quick to respond. The 911 dispatch center was set up in the Hayes Fire Department temporarily. There were some calls that were transferred to the Pratt Communication Center, which is a combined communication center. But very few calls were actually overflowed. We were able to set this up until they could get back online. But kudos to everybody involved. They did a great job getting the center back up online.
Toby, I have a quick question about
Yes.
that. Everything worked beautifully and everybody did what they were supposed to do, but it was concerning to me, if 911 goes down, we don't have an immediate backup that it switches to? We do have.
No, well, so yes, it will transfer over to, we can transfer it over to the Pratt Communication Center if we need to. We do have a backup contingency plan, which is what was enacted. And so the
Okay.
backup plan was, they have computer terminals that are set up here in the Hayes Fire Department, and then the communications officers come over and set up here, and they conduct that.
Thank you.
I do know that city and county emergency management staff are looking at a different solution. When the Ellis County Rural Fire EMS facility was constructed, there was a room constructed in the basement of that to set up to be a permanent secondary PSAP, which is what you're referring
Right.
to. And so they're looking at the possibility of investing some money in that and having that instead of, because it is a little bit disruptive for Ryan's people when they're set up,
Oh,
doing the dispatch. But I think from the user end, it was fairly seamless, for the people that actually utilize the 911 services.
Well, and I would think it would be difficult with the fire department. I mean, if it's there, people thought we really probably don't need it, so we're not putting any money into it yet, and
Right.
immediately we find a situation that it does.
Yeah, and we have it's a risk versus benefit situation. What we have is not optimal. I can tell you that it worked, but it wasn't optimal. There were some things that we couldn't do. But what we have in the basement of the law enforcement center is extremely expensive. And so sometimes when it's that expensive, it's hard to duplicate for the redundancy, especially as quickly as you roll through the technology and that and stuff becomes obsolete. It's extremely difficult. So I think that's what the discussion they're having right now is how much money needs to be invested in this, to have the secondary PSAP in addition to what we have now.
The phrase in there that I was looking for was the end user did not know there was any disruption.
Yeah, I think to the person that would call in to 911 and the agencies that utilize 911, for the most part, like I said, there were some things that were unavailable, but mostly in the computer-aided dispatching realm. But for the most part, it was seamless. The Hayes Police Department hosted the 5th annual Community Night Out. It was a great success, and it was very hot that night. Water Conservation and KSU Watershed hosted the Let's Walk Water event, where participants learned about stormwater quality as well as water conservation and how the stormwater and water conservation kind of tie together at certain points. On August 8th, a force main, which is a pressurized sewer main, it broke kind of under the Parks Department entrance along the bypass. And so city staff responded very quickly. They were able to stop the flow of sewage. They were able to, in addition to city staff, work with the contractor to haul the sewage from a lift station up by the sports complex to the treatment facility. We conducted emergency repairs and we were back online. About 2 days later, it took us to get back online. So kudos to Water Resources and staff for getting it up very quickly, and the contractors that helped us out too. Convention and Visitors Bureau has been working with Toby Flores at Fort Hays State University to polish up the historical plaques in downtown. You may remember, I believe it was last year, Melissa undertook a project to have them restored, and so this is just the annual maintenance on those. CVB participated in the back-to-school picnic, as did a few commissioners and the mayor. Welcome. CVB gave away Love Hayes T-shirts and 500 bags of community information. 27th Street reconstruction has moved to a new phase. The canal intersection is open. They are marching along east. I believe there is one more phase up to the Lincoln Draw area where the entire street will be shut down and then it'll be turned to one-way traffic while they build one half of the street and then the traffic flow will switch.
Are we still looking at year end for completion? By year end?
We hope so. They're scheduled completion dates in November. On the 230th and 55th project, the contractor, which is Hess Corporation, is they are bringing the existing area up to grade, installing storm sewer, and then they are preparing the base for the preparation of cement. I do know this week they started doing some concrete in the curb trough areas. And then the east multi-use path is marching along. They are crossing 17th Street right now. The path looks pretty good. This is approximately a 1.4 mile path connecting the Hayes Rec Center to the Hayes Medical Center walking trail. And this is being done by J-Corps. Part of our concrete patch project is our street maintenance. This is Morgan Brothers. They have completed the area circled in blue, and they are still working on 2 areas, one on 5th Street, one on 11th Street. They're also doing a very good job. And the seal coat crew with Circle C Paving out of Goddard, they were in July 22nd through 28th, and they did about 7 miles of streets. It's extremely noticeable. This is a good treatment that most people are very happy with, and they have their streets seal coated, as are we. And lastly, the North Vine Street project. There haven't been any major traffic changes in the last month. The contractor's been working diligently in the current traffic pattern. Actually, here's a couple views on the left looking south, on the right looking north. You can see they are really starting to take shape now. So it is anticipated that after Labor Day, the contractor will shift to the traffic pattern where the traffic will be on the outside lanes while they finish the work up in the middle. With that, I will turn it over to Melissa.
Thank you, Toby.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Melissa Dixon from the Convention and Visitors Bureau. I just wanted to bring you some events that are happening in the month of September. Throughout September and into October, the downtown market will still be going on in the pavilion on Saturday mornings. If vegetables, delicious homegrown vegetables are not your thing, there's also delicious chocolate cake and baked goods down there that you can enjoy on the spot with coffee, sponsored in part by the Convention and Visitors Bureau. The Union Pacific Big Boy will return to town next weekend. Now, last year, Union Pacific did contact us for some event that we could do together. There was a ceremony and a check. We have not been contacted, so as far as I know, it's a stop. We can get out and look at it.
No check.
There's no getting on the train. Sternberg Museum's exhibit was extended. Their summer exhibit that we love so much with all the interactive activity is extended through November 1st, but mid-September they will get a new exhibit in their art area called Animal Groups. The Professional Disc Golf Association will have their 37th annual Frontier Open Disc Golf Tournament, and that usually sells out with 180 participants. Smoky Hills PBS Family Fun Day will be Saturday, September 18th out at Big Creek Crossing. PBS character Curious George will be there, and the first 500 kids will get a bag with books, stickers, and other goodies like that. And CVB is sponsor of that event. Thunder on the Plains Cruise Night will be Friday, September 3rd. They'll start at Big Creek Crossing, and they'll cruise on down to Municipal Park, where Jimmy D and the Fabulous Destinations will perform at 7:30. And then the actual car show will be Saturday, September 4th, starting at 8 a.m. at Frontier Park. 2 RPM Speedway races will happen in September. Championship night, September 18th, and then practice for the Fall Nationals, Saturday, September 30th. Remember, kids 12 and under are always free out there. The Chamber will host their big Ag Appreciation Dinner out at the Ellis County Fairgrounds buildings, Tuesday, September 28th. And they'll be working with some of their Chamber members to get the tickets out to those Ellis County farmers and ranchers. Then get these homecomings on your calendar so you'll be ready when parade season starts. Bonfire for TMP, that's actually September 16th. Apologies for that. Parade Friday, September 17th, and the game Friday, September 17th at 7 p.m. Fort Hays State's homecoming will be bonfire Thursday, September 30th, weather permitting, as always. Parade Saturday, game Saturday. And that will roll us right into Oktoberfest, October 1st and 2nd. They will have a 2-day event again this year, that Friday and Saturday. And I would be remiss to not talk about what's going on this weekend. Huge weekend in Hays. Friday night, art walk. During the art walk, kids' activities under the pavilion. Free cake, free games. I heard there's going to be a dunk tank. Saturday, Brews on the Bricks, Main and 10th. There will be some streets blocked off for that. That starts at 12:30, and there are plenty of general admission tickets still available if you know anybody that wants to bop down there for that. As soon as the Brews is over, Rockalua Music Fest will start down at Municipal Park. Thanks to some great sponsors, that event is totally free. And then there is also a 1-hour symphony concert under the pavilion at 7:30 Saturday night as well. So lots of good stuff going on.
Melissa, isn't there a Hays High Parade in there also?
Hays High's homecoming is not till October this year.
It's the same weekend as Fort Hays.
Oh, of course, yes. I forgot about
I'll look up on that. Thank you.
Melissa, I want to congratulate you and staff and DHDC and Fort Hays and everybody for the wonderful back to school bash. I had 2 great bodyguards that took care of me among a throng of people down there. But I was really surprised at the numbers
They
of
were?
participants, not necessarily students, but how many booths there were. We
Yes.
walked that whole area, and there was a lot of booths, and kids were really participating.
There was a difference this year. They did not charge businesses to show up this year. Booth space was free until they ran out of room. Normally, I think in the past they've charged $50 for booth space. So they just really wanted to fill up the quad, and so booth space was free this year.
Well, given how hot it was, I was not expecting that kind of a turnout. It was
Me either.
excellent. It was really good.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
it. It was amazing how many people wanted her autograph, but we
I know,
saved
they
the
kept them
autographs.
back, kept them at bay. Thank you very much, Melissa. Commissioners,
I just want to congratulate the First Call for Help. They had their open house for the First Step Housing. Is that, I think I'm saying that right? And I thought what was really interesting, I know they got, I believe, a Dane Hansen grant, but they it was a lot of community members, organizations kind of came together and got the dollars, raised, and it just says a lot for our community, and it's very nice. And they're not sure exactly how they're going to continue to have it funded in the future, and maybe it's something we can look at to help possibly, but I think it's a good thing for our community that they're trying to help out with.
Commissioner Malik,
I have nothing this evening, thank you.
Commissioner Burgess. Commissioner Ruder?
Yeah, I enjoyed going to the back to school bash, even though it was 400 degrees.
At least, at least.
Got my heat weight loss going, so that helped out. Glad I could help protect you.
I was
why I'm
so
there.
much appreciated.
Yeah, I'm happy to see all the students and everybody back. It's nice to see, and hope everybody stays cool this weekend until it starts snowing in November.
And I'm ready. I didn't say that real loud. I too wanted to comment on First Call for Help. They came before us with their project earlier this spring, and I think we kind of put a challenge out there for them in terms of fundraising. The Schmidt Foundation stepped up in that area with some matching funds, and Linda and her team were able to find those matches, and I'm extremely proud of the work they've done. It's not historically, that hasn't been their comfort zone, but they took this on big time. And I would echo what Commissioner Musil said. If they came forward and needed some city help after everything they've done, I'd certainly be open to that. We're adjourned.